1:15 on Monday. What is it? It's the last Monday of the month.
It is.
Where did July go?
No, you feel like July flew. I felt like it was dragging.
I've got a dad joke for you.
Hit me.
July.
Like you lie.
Yeah. It's like it went so
You
fast.
know, like dad jokes never really land with me.
No,
because
because you said
I'm not a dad.
You said it went so quick, and I went
said you
July.
Yes, I get it, but like dad jokes are so lame, guys.
No,
Oh
no,
my
they are not.
gosh. I know I'm outnumbered right now.
No, you're a little
studio,
bit. Speaking about, I don't know if he knows any dad jokes, but I'll tell you what he does
It looks
know.
like he got some good dad jokes.
I'll tell you what he does know a lot about today on Medical Mondays, powered by First Care Solutions. Is all about merging smart tech and healthcare.
So we're taking the tools and the healthcare.
The tools and the healthcare, and it just went straight off the aeroplane and came straight here. Dr. Stephen Holt.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, July.
Oh, you see, I am outnumbered.
So you're becoming a dad, Joe.
How was your vacancy? I'm going to think.
I tell you, I've got so many dad jokes for you, but we'll get to those later.
Towards the end.
Yeah, my vacancy was fantastic.
Oh, that's like a welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome back to
You
the
look like
save.
you've had,
Also,
look like you've had a good holiday. You look well rested.
Nice and tan.
I tanned well. It was really, really hot, so I spent a lot of time doing very little in the swimming pool, in the sea. It was fantastic.
You're going to do a lot this morning. We're not going to do very little this afternoon. Sorry. I love saying this morning. So let's dive straight into it, Dr. Steve. So from your perspective, what's the most exciting piece of health tech on the market right now, and why is it so exciting?
Sure, Kamo, there's so many things out there at the moment that are sort of trying to, every week something new comes out and steals the limelight from the last week. I think some of the robotic stuff is really, really cool. The robotic surgery that is getting done is just making surgery much more accurate, reducing cost, reducing hospital stays. That stuff is really cutting edge. In our space, leading edge technology is predominantly involving AI and wearables. And that is really, really cool stuff. I think it's, in the primary healthcare space, AI is making such a difference in speed, accuracy, cost saving, cost reduction, overall service delivery, that I think that's becoming so exciting for me personally, that we actually are going to be able to make a fundamental difference in healthcare delivery in that space.
I've got two follow-ups, Nate. Firstly, you said every week. So is the industry growing that fast that every week something new tech-related drops in the medical space?
Absolutely. So it's not just the medical space, it's AI-related stuff. And every week I'm being inundated with information about new technologies that are helping to advance administration, new technologies that are finding out new diagnoses, new ways of doing stuff, new methodologies for things that a few years ago you couldn't even think of.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. So I'm watching The Resident, right? Always try and bring a bit of reality to it and whatever I'm consuming currently on TV. And on The Resident, one of the surgeons had an issue with, because you're talking about how AI is helping with the accuracy in surgeries and also all that stuff. And he really was just like, there's no way that something that's tech can be more accurate than a human's actual, hands, because he believed that using your hands is such a specific art, and I just want you to sort of demystify episodes like that drive the narrative that AI cannot be better than humans, because we also know human error is a real thing.
Look, it's a great question, but it's something that I think the medical fraternity is always going to hold on to what they consider as medicine as an art. And to a large extent, medicine is an art, not just surgery, but medicine as a whole, because there's such a human component to it. And just when you think that the science has figured everything out, you'll be beaten by the human element or the science that we don't know about. So I can really get how surgeons, and probably surgeons in particular, will feel that they are better than the machine. The thing about robotics, though, is that it's so accurate and so precise down to the millimeter that it can really reduce in surgery, reduce bleeding, improve accuracy of exactly where the cut is. It can map stuff. It can look in 3D.
Sure.
All of those kinds of things, which the human eye battles to do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So under the circumstances, the robotics is better, and it's been demonstrated, shortens hospital stays. That's what it does, because it's more precise, less global trauma to the area that's being operated on. So there's going to be a lot of healthcare professionals who say, no, it doesn't work, I'm better. I've spoken to dermatologists who said to me, why do I need AI? I am the dermatologist. I know.
Yeah.
And I've said, well, what happens if you've got a nurse or a GP who doesn't know? Then can AI help them? Yes, it probably can, but why would they do that? They'll just refer to me.
Okay.
So that's going to happen more and
So
more.
it's sort of like when you have a kid and your kid eventually has to go to varsity, but you're like, no, it's a similar concept.
Yeah, something like that.
Now you've been a fan of AI I've had many conversations with you, and how AI drives this something in your eyes just lights up when you talk about AI. Something I'm quite keen on talking about, smart wearables like heart monitors, sleep trackers are becoming quite common. But are they tracking the data correctly, and does it really help the doctors?
So there's a point of departure here for every different individual. So are the wearables getting better? Absolutely.
Okay.
Historically, they could do one or two things. What AI does is it takes those one or two things, it applies that across a massive data set.
Yes.
And the more information that goes in, the more it approximates accuracy.
Okay.
The measurable ability is also, or the measurability is also getting better. So the sensors are getting better. So there's now more data that is getting analyzed. So
yes.
progressively, as a whole, the analytics is getting better. A lot of the wearables don't want to register them as medical devices at the moment, because then you can be held liable. And as a result of the liability, they don't want to register as a medical device. They register as a medical adjunct, something to assist a doctor in diagnoses or assist you in managing your own health.
From a perspective of smart wearables, we all know about we all know about the watches, we all know about heart monitors and stuff like that. But what is really cutting edge right now? I'm really interested to hear.
So the smart ring is the latest thing.
Okay.
Essentially, you're taking those same sensors that are in a watch or a band and putting it in a ring, and you're getting the same amount of information coming out of it. It can still link to your phone and up into the cloud, and you then get the same information out of it. The approximation, though, to medical grade, I think, is here. I think it's a liability issue more than anything else that's stopping it being utilized, and then the connectivity of that to the individual doctor. So if you're an individual doctor and I've got 1,000 patients that I'm looking after, whose stuff do I look at? And when? At midnight? There's not enough hours in the day. So that's where AI, I think, is going to process things and auto-alarm, auto-pickup, auto-analyze. And then that's ultimately where I think we're going.
I have what I think, as I'm sitting now, I'm like, this is probably a stupid question, but in school, they're like, there's no such thing as a stupid question, right? Because you're speaking about wearables and those are your watches and whatever. And I recently got a wearable for my workouts, right? We call it the Lion Heart. And I was just, obviously it tells me how much effort I'm putting in and where my heart rate is. But is there anything else beyond, like mine is for fitness, but if I gave it to you, for instance, would it be able to assist in maybe an idea of why, if I have an underlying ill that I didn't know about, like by looking at that?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you
like
absolutely
apart from
making
how
sense.
well I'm doing in the gym, could there be something that could be discovered off of all those readings?
Absolutely. So if you take hypertension, we'd pick up whether your blood pressure is elevated. If you take diabetes and you have a monitor that measures your sugar, those new Libra devices that now you can leave on for 2 weeks at a time, just scan your phone over, gives you an accurate blood sugar reading. So you can measure blood pressure, you can look for heart rate irregularities. Sorry, that's holiday talking. You can look at heart rate, you can look at blood pressure. The newer ones, even one of the AI tools that's on our app on Care First,
Yes.
that has the ability to look at some of your biomarkers, so your sugar, your cholesterol,
Got you.
your hemoglobin. So it can pick up anemia, it can pick up diabetes, it can pick up hypertension. The thing with wearables, though, is it requires you as the individual to monitor it at the moment. Very few of them connect into a central ops center or something like that. And I think that's where the future's going.
Okay.
There are some sleep ones like that connect to sleep labs. But I think where it's going is you're going to start having these going into centers where they're analyzed and picked up.
There are many people, and I've spoken to a handful of them. You always have the skeptics, and you always have people that are technology is forward, and if you don't embrace technology, you're going to get left behind. So, from being concerned, some people are concerned that AI and digital tools will replace human doctors. How do you say to those people, calm your farm? Calm your farm. Relax.
Go on holiday.
Are you sponsoring?
Not right now. I can tell you that there are elements of everyone's work that's going to be replaced by AI. Having said that, if you take the continent of Africa, I think I said this previously once to you, actually, that there are about 5,000 dermatologists on the continent.
That's right.
Okay? If you take 5,000 dermatologists with 1-point-something billion people on the continent, there is no chance in God's green earth that they are ever going to see a dermatologist.
Yeah.
Okay? So AI takes that and democratizes it to be able to give more things to more people. There are not enough doctors, not in South Africa, not in Africa, in many parts of the world that are developing countries in particular that have enough doctors. So AI will improve the administration and therefore will kind of take up some of the slack. We will continue to produce doctors who are educated in the tools. Okay, we will be more appropriate in the use of doctors. The human element of doctors will never go away, not entirely anyway. So there are many, many elements that I think we're years and years and years away from replacing a doctor. Will we get to Star Trek where they scan you and say, you know, beep, 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 this is what it is? I'm not sure. But I don't think doctors' jobs per se are on the line. I think elements of their work can be enabled better by the tools that are becoming available.
I have to agree with that. I think that's a very cool. That's very true. And like you can't take you can only make things better. I think you can't take the job away. You can just make things better.
So obviously, tech sounds amazing. But before we jump into the cost of it all, I think let's take a quick break because it's amazing. It's closing the gap and it's doing all these cool things. But what about, where isn't there a scare that exists that it might widen the gap? But we'll touch on that when we come back.
I've got a great answer for you.
Excellent.
The good times never stop. 919.
Do you know where healthcare is heading in 2025 and beyond? Medical Mondays has you covered. Every Monday at 1:15 p.m. on 919 FM, we team up with First Care Solutions to unpack the stuff that matters. From virtual doctor consultations to the future of wearables, from AI to NHI, or even just staying ahead of seasonal bugs. It's quick, it's practical, and it might just change how you look at your health. Medical Mondays, powered by First Care Solutions, putting healthcare first. I feel like I have a knack for picking the right song for the right segment, eh?
Blame it on the world.
No,
to change.
Waiting for the world to change.
I thought it said blame. Guys, I can't see this far.
Okay, then put on your glasses.
No, I don't want to.
There's a doctor. Ask the doctor.
I have makeup on today. I'm not putting on glasses. I made sure, I gave you a promise that every week I'm going to look better than the other week.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So, Dr. Steve, I said before we took our musical break that, yes, tech is amazing, and often expensive. We can't deny that. How can we ensure that these innovations don't widen the healthcare gap between those who can afford it and those who can't?
Kamo, that's a really great question. I love this one because I think for the first time there is a real solution to that. Historically, medical inflation has gone sort of 4-5% above standard inflation, and it's gone on for years and years and years. Healthcare is becoming progressively unaffordable. That's the first thing. What tech is doing now, particularly the tech utilizing AI, is that it is democratizing access.
Yes.
So it's actually reducing the cost. So if you take, if you buy a smartwatch from Apple, I don't know what it costs, 10 grand or 15 grand or something, it's a lot of money. Okay. However, if you take, and I'm not using, they're all the same, Apple, Garmin, they're all expensive. Okay.
Yeah.
You can get cheaper ones, and they are coming down in price as technology usually does. However, if you take some of the AI-driven tools, like the one on our Care First platform, okay, and I'll give myself a punt here. If you take that particular platform, you can do, for 20 Rand, you can do a facial scan. You can get your blood pressure, pulse, respiratory rate, heart rate, oxygen saturation, hemoglobin, cholesterol, sugar, HbA1c, all of those things are available, and you can get that for around 20 Rand. Now, and you can do that in 60 seconds.
Yeah.
If you compare that, if you had to do blood tests for all of those things, if you had to go to a doctor or a nurse to get those other things measured, you would pay probably 10, 20 times that amount.
Yeah.
And so I think in that regard, the cost of those, certainly in the primary healthcare space, is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yes.
And that'll force the cost of the other wearables down.
Yes.
Most of the wearables that are hugely expensive are the cutting edge ones that, only very few can afford. But the vast majority of people can still access this. But it requires a mindset of an individual to say, I want to measure myself. Why you've got your gym wearable now.
Yes.
You want to check what you're doing.
100%. Yes, exactly.
And I did realize that I wasn't doing anything until I had the lion heart. Yes.
Now you can check that there's change.
Yes. Speaking on the point of access, right? What is the biggest challenge in bringing these digital healthcare tools into South African clinics and hospitals? Is it an infrastructure thing, training, or just public trust?
So I think it's a bit of all of those things. We've found in our environment, people don't know, let alone trust something yet. So the concept of doing a facial video at the moment and getting your blood pressure, people look at me and say, but how?
Yeah.
That technology that's used, photoplethysmography, has been around for years and years and years on the thing that they put on the end of your finger to get your oxygen saturation in the hospital. So the technology's been around for a long time. It's now people getting their heads around the fact that actually it's used in a different way.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is knowledge that it exists.
Yeah.
So there's got to be education, then trusting that. And that'll come as there's more mainstream adoption. And we're seeing some of the big funders now offering these kinds of technologies. So people will think, okay, well, if the medical aid's paying for it, then it must be fair.
Yeah.
Okay. The doctors will get used to it, although they will always be a little bit threatened because they think it's going to take work away from them. Again, it won't. There's too many people. And if we can put products like this in the market, we're going to enhance the screening and that'll get people involved and interested in it as well. So now I think it's a combination of knowledge, trust, promotion, adoption, and doctors themselves ultimately will be sort of the ultimate sort of people who will give patients the confidence to use it.
Yes.
So I have this is a two-part thing. So you were just talking about putting a clamp on your finger to test your oxygen level. So it doesn't, like, as far as I understand this from my experience in a hospital a couple of months ago, is that we had to do something completely different to test, I think, the amount of, again, oxygen. But what was it called? It was called a blood gas. Yeah. Is something being worked on? Like, I mean, that is sore, man. that is very sore. That is like, I mean, and they're not hitting a vein; they're hitting an artery, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can't replace everything, but I'm sure in time it'll get progressively more and more accurate because, particularly with AI, you can start to analyze huge sets of data. You can then start to create algorithms that calculate stuff. So your primary measurement needs to be accurate. So at the moment, they can measure oxygen saturation without sticking a needle in you, but they cannot measure the actual amount of oxygen
Got
in
you.
your blood
Got you.
without sticking a needle in you.
Okay. My last question for you is the thing we talked about in our very first episode, which I was so excited to hear. All I'm going to say is Scribe MD.
I knew you mentioned this every time.
I think
we
I
have
love it,
Medical
man.
Mondays.
Yeah, I really love it as well. I mean, Scribe MD has been quite a revelation for us. And I've done a couple of talks, and some of my doctors that work with me have done talks for some of the big funders. And there's clearly a lot of interest from doctors around this. Basically, what happens is when you talk, the Scribe MD, which is one of the products, it's called an ambient scribe,
Correct.
basically takes what you talk and then transcribes that through an AI module to make it into medical speak. So
Gotcha.
and it also can pick up different voices and apply different things. So now we're essentially recording the conversation, putting it through an AI engine. It applies different terms or confirms terms that may be said in layman's terms, puts that into a medical note, and then each different doctor writes notes in a different way. So dermatologist will do it differently to a GP, to an orthopedic surgeon. So you can actually customize as a doctor your template,
Yes.
and then it takes that information and puts it into your template,
Incredible, man.
and then you can start to draw information out of it. So now I know how many people had a heart attack last week in Sandton, because my record can now assimilate that.
Crazy, man.
It's also kind of cool, creepy but cool.
No,
it's
it's cool.
giving Tony Stark, Iron Man.
What's really cool is it enables the doctor now to avoid somewhere between 5 and 7 minutes in our environment per consultation, to now sit across the table and actually have a conversation with you, rather than saying, listen, I'm sorry, we're going to have to end it there. I need to go
Yes,
right
your
now.
next patient, yes.
So it saved a lot of time. It's improved the accuracy of notes 100-fold.
Okay.
And it's reduced the medical legal risk. People can say, but the doctor said this. No, he didn't. Here it is.
Yeah, there it
or
is, yeah.
patient said this and the doctor said, no, we didn't.
Okay.
It's there now.
I think the last one for me, and to wrap up the conversation, which you've obviously covered on a whole lot, I wanted to know, and I'm here for the skeptics, you know me.
Me too.
For the average person listening right now, what's one simple way they can embrace health tech in their daily life, like the most simplest?
I think probably either getting yourself a wearable or start monitoring yourself. In fact, it doesn't even need to be a wearable to start with. Monitor your own weight, monitor your own body mass index, monitor your own blood pressure, monitor something so that you start to understand the value of that. And just like you may set yourself an exercise goal, set yourself a blood pressure goal, a cholesterol goal, whatever it is. Do some background search into your family history.
A sugar goal.
There are too many people who know nothing about their health.
Yeah. I think that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Is the ignorance.
Yeah.
Is what I was trying to say.
It's less about ignorance, Paul, than it is about. I don't know. I'm not the expert. It's complicated stuff. So it's wanting. It's a head in the sand kind of thing. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But if your parent has passed away at the age of 50 from heart disease, you as a child should be monitoring what's going on with my cholesterol, my blood pressure, all of those things.
Sure.
So and the option exists now for you to do it, and you can do it on the Care First platform. You can do it on a wearable. You can do it on anything you like. Start monitoring and start setting yourself goals now.
I think that's great. Dr. Steve, as always, thank you for enlightening us and educating us. What can my last one as we wrap this up, where do we see wearables and AI, this kind of stuff in 5 years from now?
They're just going to get better and better, and I think there's going to be more linking of the data that comes from those into assimilated, I want to say operations center because that's kind of the word in my head, but I think analysis of those things, big data analysis, will start to give us trends in society, trends in all sorts of things that we didn't actually know were there.
Okay.
So you might find that, if you're a doctor, you're going to get high blood pressure because of this and this and this in those kinds of populations. We'll start to pick up trends like that. And I think that's going to enable people to screen earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to make a massive difference in terms of picking up illnesses before they've even started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think this is the perfect time to. I can see you trying to run away, and we said we were going to
He's not
save
gonna run
the
away.
dad joke for last.
Yeah. Hit us with
And
that
on the
dad joke,
highest
Justin.
note.
No, I'm not doing a dad
Oh,
joke.
are we going to do it off air? You owe me one. Then
I will.
can we shake on an off air dad joke?
Absolutely, we can do one of those.
Thank you, Dr. Steve. Powered by First Care Solutions. We'll do it all again next week, Monday.
Thanks, Paul.